Is Russia counterattacking against Ukraine? But is Ukraine proven that even some of Russia's unbeatable military tech is just as vulnerable as anything? I'm Paul, U.S. Army combat veteran. It's May 16th, 2023. This is your daily Ukraine update. Let's get into it. But first, of course, if you guys notice that there's a lot of terrible clickbait in the world of national security, right? It seems like every 3 months when there's a lull in the news cycle, someone makes some article that China is about to invade Taiwan, and it's never happened. Well, I am launching a newsletter to help you guys discern the reality of stories that actually matter in the national security space. It's the strategic sitrep. You can click the link in the description. It's totally free. Just sign up in your email, and once a week, we're going to give you guys a short 500-word rundown of the stories that actually matter in the national security space. No clickbait, no fluff, just what you need to know. So check out the strategic sitrep. Link is in the description, and sign up for free today. Okay, let's talk about the battlefield situation. The biggest notable change is, of course, that there isn't really that notable a change. You can see no reported changes to the Bakhmut front lines. But what is interesting is that in the north, right, way in the north, let's see, there you go, right here, we can see Russia actually making a small advance near Masyutikivka. And this is relevant simply because this was been a contested region for some time, or rather it's become contested region a few days ago and has now appeared to have fallen into Russian control. But you can see that this is probably a fixing operation. Again, the number of total troops around this line are fairly light. So when changes happen, it can be as little as a squad or platoon size element that's been repositioned. You can see from the map, this is maybe only 2 kilometers of total front line. It's also interesting because Russia, of course, controls west or east of the Oskil to the north near Dvorichna, but Ukraine actually controls the remaining east bank of the Oskil south of that location. So this may be part of a Russian effort to at least advance up to the Oskil, simply because it can become very efficient to secure large amounts of territory when you have an obstacle that makes it tough for the enemy to cross. The reason being is because, right, it's going to take time for any substantive number of troops to cross this river, especially if you've blown bridges. And so you can have a platoon or company cover tens of kilometers, especially if they're enabled using drones, automated cameras, thermal imaging, and other technologies. It allows you to free up a lot of troops potentially, but you need to control an entire side of one of these obstacles. And so that's what I think Russia may be doing. It could also be literally just luck. They could have just happened to have gotten a lucky shot on a Ukrainian commander, or even just a flub. Maybe Ukraine given the wrong orders to a company and accidentally yielding a position before reinforcements or replacements were ready. It's hard to know when you have this sort of thinly populated, thinly defended territory. It's not like Bakhmut, where the density of units is so high that the ability to make territorial changes, it comes at a tremendous price. So just something to keep in mind as we continue to see changes along this northern front line. When we look at the combat map, you can see, of course, Russia very light, just 49 offensive actions, one of which was right here. You could see them identify, right, an offensive work in this forested area. Again, a single attack here, 2 in Bakhmut, 1 near Avdiivka, and that's basically it. So Russia is sort of forced finally, again, to be more efficient with their forces, choose more carefully the time and location of their offensive actions. What I thought was really interesting, though, and really worth talking about, is Russia deploying its hypersonic missiles. And the reason I talk about this is because the hypersonic missiles have been a boogeyman, not just for Ukraine, but actually for the United States as well. There were beliefs that the hypersonic missiles would not be able to be shot down, that they could threaten things like U.S. carriers or major missile sites, that this was a step up and that conventional missile defense might not work against these sort of hypersonic missiles. And again, a lot of news stories hand-wringing about this sort of thing. But it appears that a volley has gone out. Again, probably Russia attempting to disrupt Ukrainian command and control in the face of this counteroffensive. But several of them, a majority supposedly, have been shot down. And this is interesting because, again, it proves what's possible, that even going 10 times the speed of sound, modern air defenses can effectively stop them. And so these are far from a super weapon, far from the game changer that Russia and other countries like China have touted them to be. And it's a real testament to probably the United States' development of counter missile technology. Really, it's hard to overstate how much of a really disaster this failure of their super hypersonic missiles have been for Russia, and how much of a really blessing and testament it is to the West that our existing air defense systems can counter them so effectively. Right. Russian President Putin frequently touted the Kinzhal hypersonic missile as proof of world-beating Russian military hardware. But obviously, it's fallen way short. Anyway, guys, that is all I had. Be sure to check out the strategicsitrep.com/subscribe. Link is in the description. And as always, thank you to all the members of combatvetnews.com. I really appreciate you guys. All our lieutenant tier members, all of our colonel tier members. We're going to be updating it today. So I know we've gotten a bunch of new colonel members at the site. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you in the next one.